Hello, my name is Professor Ian Williamson, and I have the great privilege of serving as the Dean of the Paul Merage School of Business here at the University of California, Irvine. Welcome to another episode of the Dean's Thought Leader Series. Today we have with us an individual who has had a tremendous impact on our economy here in the United States. I'm speaking of Gary Acosta. He is someone who's an entrepreneur, he is a public policy advocate, as well as an investor. Gary is the co-founder and CEO of the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, NAREP. He is also the founder of Latitude, the Latitude event, which is one of a large gathering of Latino business professionals across the country, which happens every year. Related to that, he is also the founder of Latitude Ventures. This is the nation's largest venture capital fund exclusively focused on Latino-led startups. Mr. Acosta has founded several mortgage, real estate, and technology-based companies across the country. He has also had a major role in serving in various different facets, both in the public sector as well as in the private sector. Most notably, he served on the inaugural Consumer Advisory Board for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. He has served on multiple Fortune 500 firms, and he's been recognized for his services to the community as well as to the profession. Indeed, he was recognized by receiving the Investing in Communities Award from the Mortgage Bankers Association of America. We're very fortunate to have Gary with us today to share his perspectives on the business community, but specifically the Latino business community. Gary, thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Well, I think there's tons of empirical evidence to illustrate the powerhouse that is the Latino business community and its impact. And I know through some of the work that you're doing with NAREP, you're actually evaluating this and studying this, and particularly around issues around wealth. What are some of the things that you're finding in that work, and what are some of the things that you think the broader population should know about the Latino business community?
Well, we like to, I think, dispel some myths about the Latino community first and foremost. If you followed the media, you probably would have the perception the Latinos are a community that's rife with problems, immigration problems, financial problems, and the like, when in fact the data shows that the opposite is actually true. Latinos are the drivers of economic growth in this country. We have the largest workforce participation rate of any other demographic. We're purchasing homes at a faster rate than the general population, and we're also very entrepreneurial. Latinos are twice as likely as the general population to own a small business within their household. So those are the type of data points that we think the marketplace, the leadership amongst the business community needs to better understand.
So I'd like to talk a little bit about NAREP.
Sure.
This is the idea that you were instrumental in creating this organization. It is, as I understand it, the largest business professional association for Latino business leaders in the country.
Yes.
Extremely successful. What was the opportunity you saw there, and what is the goal that you'd like to have for the organization?
Well, I think also the goals for NAREP are also evolving. So first of all, we started the organization 22 years ago, and the idea was to bring together the real estate professional community to focus on advancing sustainable Hispanic homeownership in this country. There's a gap out there. Latinos own homes, are passionate about owning homes, but only about half of the Latino population are homeowners, whereas the general population is around 65, almost 70%. So that gap is something that we want to close. We think homeownership is a good thing. We think that people who are homeowners do better economically. There's data that shows that children of homeowners actually do better in school, they have less behavioral problems and so forth. So homeownership, when done correctly and responsibly, is a very positive thing in people's lives. So the idea behind the organization was primarily that. As the organization evolved, and when we think about the Great Recession that occurred between 2008 and 2012, we wanted to have the organization be something that was maybe even deeper and more permanent than just the acquisition of homes. We think that homeownership is a means to a better quality of life, but it's not the end all. And it was around that time that we developed the Hispanic Wealth Project. And that was really kind of driven by the idea that, first of all, Latinos lost a great deal of wealth during that recessionary period, but also homeownership is a primary source of wealth for most Americans, but particularly for Latinos. And secondly, Small business ownership is also a very large percentage of Latino wealth in this country. We're an organization that's all about advancing home ownership and whose membership is largely made up of small business professionals. So it made sense for us to prioritize wealth building within our network.
What are some of the aims around the Wealth Project that you're focusing on? What are some of the goals you're trying to achieve there?
Yeah, so if you look at what occurred during the Great Recession, which again was really the inspiration for the Hispanic Wealth Project, Latinos actually were hit disproportionately hard during that period of time. So there's some data that shows we lost as much as 2/3 of our household wealth during that period of time, which is devastating. And it wasn't high to start with. And one of the reasons that Latinos were hit especially hard was because we weren't very diversified. Those of us that did have assets generally held them in one or two different asset classes. Latinos participate in things like retirement accounts and brokerage accounts in the stock market at a much lesser percentage than the overall population, regardless of income. So even Latinos that are making a lot of money, for whatever reason, don't participate to the same degree that other segments of the population do. So that diversification is important because if you're a real estate professional and the real estate market tanks, and it is a cyclical business, so that does happen, and all of your business and all of your holdings are in real estate, you're going to get hit pretty hard. But if you have a few bets, you have a few assets that are in different asset classes, you're in a better position to withstand that. So that was a big thrust, really educating our network, who are real estate professionals, on the importance of diversification. Real estate professionals in this country, particularly, again, Latino real estate professionals, are very influential in our communities. So our thought was, if we can create new disciplines amongst the influencer community, that'll cascade to the broader Latino community in a much more efficient way.
Very insightful. So talk to me a little bit about your perspectives. I mean, obviously one driver of wealth is business ownership.
Yep.
And this is, I know, an area of tremendous passion for you. And I would love to hear a little bit more about the Latitude Venture Capital Fund
Sure.
and the work that you do in that space. But maybe I'll frame it as, what do you see as the catalysts that are needed to sort of continue to drive and expand this powerhouse, which is the Latino business community?
Well, if you look at the data, once again, you'll see that Latinos are prolific at starting small businesses. We have that sort of entrepreneurial spirit in our DNA for some reason. But Latino businesses, as a rule, tend to be very small and generally stay small. So scaling those businesses is one of the things that we want to address. And one of the ways that you scale businesses is by providing capital. And there's knowledge gaps and education that's required for that, but it's also educating the financial community on the opportunity where the growth is. One of the things that we say, maybe not so jokingly, is that one of the biggest mysteries in the history of capitalism, because capital is supposed to flow where the growth is why isn't capital flowing to the Latino community? Because the data shows that that is where the growth is going to be for this country in the coming years. So, number one, we want to bring solutions to that, not just in a sort of hypothetical and academic way, but actually be in the marketplace ourselves, showing the market how to invest in this community, how valuable and productive and profitable it can be in the long run. And we decided to start our own venture capital fund with a very high goal, and that was to raise $100 million. Now that may sound like a drop in the bucket as compared to the overall population, but it does make us the largest Latino-led venture capital fund in the country. So we have a great opportunity and a great deal of responsibility with that, but it's very exciting.
No, it's a tremendous initiative, and I agree with you. The fundamental premise is the money should go to the ideas.
Yes.
And we're not getting enough ideas funded from the Latino community to sort of drive the growth that we know is possible. So I commend you for the vision around that.
Oh, thank you.
So one of the audiences for this is our students.
Sure.
And I'm always very mindful of trying to talk to them about not just what they're doing today, but where they're going to be doing, what they're going to be doing in tomorrow. And I would love to get your thoughts on, what do you think the business leaders of tomorrow, what do they need to be preparing themselves for? How would you recommend they prepare themselves for 2030, 2035? What are the things that, given the lens that you have and the experiences you have, what are the types of things you'd be recommending people to focus on?
So I do think that ideas are going to continue to be more valuable in our economy over time. There's going to be more automation. A lot of the jobs that are there today are not going to be there in the future. But there's nothing that can replace innovation and the entrepreneurial spirit. So I'm a big believer in entrepreneurship. I think it's great to be part of corporate America and work your way up the ladder if that's what your calling is. But even within that context, people who have ideas, who believe in those ideas and are able to articulate those ideas well, are the ones that are going to succeed. I think when we get into school, we get so specialized, and we want to acquire these skill sets, whether it's engineering or any other particular specialty, that we forget that the primary success, I think, metric is the way people can communicate. And I think that that's an undervalued resource. To take the time to learn how to communicate well, have great ideas, be passionate about those ideas, but learn how to articulate it in a really great way.
And what advice would you provide for individuals who are thinking about how their businesses can participate in and support this new mainstream economy that is driven by the Latino community?
Well, I think first of all that, in the real estate business, and I'll give you an example for that, right? So of course we're looking for growth, but we're also looking for the types of consumers that are going to be loyal to us, loyal to our brands, and appreciate the service that we provide. So first of all, you're not going to have any customer that is more grateful and more loyal than the Latino community. Latinos will do business with people based on trust more than anything else. They care about that more than price, and their data shows that, even more than brand in certain occasions. If they trust you, they will do business with you, and not only that, they'll tell everybody they know that they should be doing business with you. So this is a young demographic. This is a demographic that's going to do nothing but grow over the next few decades. There's great opportunities to really take advantage of that. If you're a business, you want to probably hire accordingly. You want to think about presenting yourselves as a trustworthy company or product. But like I said, there's nothing but upside if you do it well.
Got it. Well, Gary, thank you for your vision for NARAP, your vision for Latitude, your vision for the Latitude Venture Capital Fund. All these things are critical to driving our well-being holistically as a community. And we're just very, very proud of the success you've had and very happy to be a part of it. So,
well, it's a pleasure, and thank you so much for the invitation. It's just great to be here.